Welcome everyone to another episode of the Lore Pod Podcast. I'm your host Dakota Morgan, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're diving back into the world of Star Wars, which is funny because my previous episode was Star Trek. Not intentional. All right, diving into it though. Actually, beforehand, let me say thank you to everybody listening here. You all are amazing. I've been podcasting for almost 10 years now. Lore Pod is one of my newer shows, and I appreciate everybody listening. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening for new episodes every Tuesday, as well as more bonus content, reviews, and much more, and soon to be more interviews. That being said, here my social media at Dakota Morgan 3 on X, at Dakota_Morgan 97 on Instagram, and my Twitch CodaRex 97. All that's in the description box down below. Thank you all. All right, diving into Star Wars here, we're gonna be looking at the First Order. In a way, we're going to be talking about the Sith troopers that we did see in the sequel movies, in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, here's the thing. I know the sequel movies do get there a little bit of talked about here in positive and negative ways, but I gotta say, the new lore from them, and as well as just overall fun adventures, is amazing. I do enjoy them. I have my problems with them, but I got my problems with a little bit of everything, but I just like to talk about shit I enjoy. That being said here, we're going to be diving into the lore of the Sith troopers because not much is known, but we're going to show you what is known. Of course, they're iconically known for their giant red armor, right? These guys are red, they're intimidating, they're badass as hell, and they popped out of nowhere, or so it seemed. Through extended lore, we were able to find out a little bit more about these guys. Now, diving into it. They served Emperor Palpatine. Somehow Emperor Palpatine returned, and we're going to explain that here in just a second. They served Emperor Palpatine and the Final Order, as it was called, as we saw them appear on the planet of Exegol. And that's where they were introduced there, with all these different variant troopers of them, the elite ones, jetpack troopers, normal Sith troopers, as they were fighting against the Resistance. They had that red coloration to them, and they were actually made to replace the First Order troopers. Yeah, that's right. The Final Order, of course, was a thing that was supposed to just replace the First Order. But it wasn't a kind of willingly thing here, and I think we're missing out here because Final Order is something that was from Palpatine, replacing the first one, and yes, Palpatine wanted to mix in, but it wasn't a willing transition. And so I think it would have been really, really cool here to get what would you call that? An order civil war. Civil war order. That'd be either fucking way. It'd be cool to see. I mean, and you would tell who's who because one's gonna be red, one's gonna be white. Disney, get on this. The story of the Final Order trying to replace the First Order. Oh, that would be so cool. Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, I want to see that. I want to see that so bad. Let me know in the comments down below, wherever you're listening or watching. Let me know, would you want to see that? Now, these Sith troopers actually had a very strong loyalty to the Sith Order, hence the name, and Emperor Palpatine, who was a representation of all Sith. And they actually drew inspiration from Sith Lords who were currently living in Palpatine himself. Now, before we get into the tech of these guys, because it's really cool, they were made to replace the First Order troopers like I mentioned, but the timing was when Snoke was assassinated by Kylo Ren. That was the original plan for those guys, and what they were supposed to do. But here's what happened. They were taken over by Palpatine and the First Order General Enrich Pride, who was a former Imperial officer, who then defected from the First Order and had pledged loyalty to Palpatine. You see where I'm going? This story would be really cool. This could be the new Star Wars Marvel comic. There's a billion of them right now. Give me this. They were split into legions of 5,000 men each, and they followed Sith customs. Each legion was named after an in-canon Sith. They were led by the Sith Eternal, which were remnants. They were not Sith themselves, though. They weren't Force wielders at all. Remnants of the Sith Order that lived on Exegol. Now, here's the thing. These monks that we saw, well, Sith monks, I guess. Sunks, one might say. They actually weren't just people in robes with the technology in there and practiced old ancient orders like reviving Palpatine to lead them, which was what they did. They actually, here's the thing. They actually had influence in different companies around the space, as we know is a thing. They had people secretly out there funneling money and funneling technology and supplies to Exegol. Yeah, they were funneling all this shit down there, and it's wild. So that's how they got, and everyone's like, where'd this come from? These Sith Eternal people were just funneling everything down there. Like, it's insane to me. Everyone's in the lore is saying that too. They're like, what the hell? And so these Sith Eternal were trying to bring back the order of the Sith there, and they had their own armies there. And these people were not recruited. They were people that were bred into this. They were bred into the program there. They were similar to First Order troopers, how they kind of took them and whatnot, but then there was some recruitment in the First Order, and then other people who were just taken as kids and raised, because that was a thing too. So they kind of drew inspiration from First Order, just taking kids and doing that to them. But instead of an overall governmental ideas, these guys were just pledging themselves to the dark side. They're just like, we know it, like, hey, Sith, man, this is the way to go. It was basically the twin opposite of, like, the clones with the Jedi. Except there was no Order 66 thing available for these guys. Oh, that's another idea. Oh my god, the ideas are so there. Hey, Marvel, I used to write comic books. Give me a call. Now, the tech, though, of these guys is very intense because they had a lot more upgraded tech that you could see there with filtration, more extra filtration systems, guidance systems, more intimidating looking armor there that was beefier and could take more hits. Overall, we're lucky the Resistance did what it did to these guys. Weapon-wise, they were carrying the STW-48 blaster. And that armor, though, as mentioned, it had a Gamma Blast type of armor there, which was heavier duty than the First Order troopers. Heavy weapons for these guys did include the repeating blaster, the FWMB-10B or FWMP-10B, and the more elite groups in there, ones that had cloaks, they carried the SPB-50 rifle there, and that rifle actually had a sword that would go back and underneath there, so they had just Klingon-esque fucking looking weapon here as well. That being said, though, this is much as far as we know. I mean, we do know that they took an extreme amount of damage there, and Exicles, the Sith remnants, Palpatine was killed, like most of them were killed there and shit too, but it doesn't mean that they're gone. And in Star Wars, the troops do survive, right? We see the Imperial remnants right now and the stuff that they're doing, and we do know they're going backwards in time to the original series. That being said, though, can we see the Sith troopers return in a future storyline? I think so. In a world where we're seeing Kylo Ren comics and stuff like that right now, I do believe it is possible. But that is as much as far as we know so far on the Sith troopers in Star Wars. If you like this, be sure to subscribe to more here on the channel or on the podcast, wherever you're listening. My YouTube is Dakota Morgan, of course. And as always, everyone, stay creative.